Hello, everybody. It's me, Sci-Fi again. We're back with Top Hat Culture once again with my co-host, Dark Emaru.
Hello, hello, everyone.
And today we have a very special guest with us today, the one and only Coolkid 369.
I'm being held hostage.
Dang, he's figured it out.
Yeah, he'll learn, he'll learn.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta invite you guys. That's right. Let me go do that. Okay, so now that you are officially a guest on Top Hat Culture, my friend, how does it feel to be chosen?
I feel like I'm about to be sacrificed. I feel like I'm about to be the victim of a satanic ritual.
Dang.
Maybe not satanic, but close enough.
Dang. Well,
I feel like my death is imminent.
Oh no. Please don't think that. Well, anyway, so for context, I think I've told you this, right? I've been a big fan of your videos for a while. Like, I started watching your stuff when I first started, a couple of years ago, actually. Like,
I'm
been...
sorry for you. I'm sorry that you have such poor taste, but I appreciate that regardless.
Dang.
I
Well,
watched some of your videos from when you did the weird interactions and obscene stuff, like the part one
I was gonna
of like
say,
the three videos,
that's like the
and then
coolest
I watched
stuff.
everything else.
I don't know if either of you know who Legendary Drops is, but he's been like reacting to those videos on stream, and it brings me like physical pain to like have people tell me about it because listening to my voice in those like 2 or 3 year old videos just it's difficult.
I actually used to be in his Discord server for a while. Like, I was one of the guys trying to coach him a little bit. Or not exactly coach him, but kind of be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of stopped after a while. But one of my biggest questions, actually, because I always try to ask people, fellow creators, this: what made you decide to get into content creation in the first place?
As you're probably aware, considering people have called me the iceberg guy jokingly for the past like 3 years, the Warframe iceberg was my first video, but the reason I wanted to make it was because that was kind of a how do I put this without making me sound like I was a clout chaser? It was like a format that I really liked watching, and someone had posted one to the Warframe subreddit back before it became terrible, and I thought that it was kind of interesting, but it felt really short. And so I started to expand on it with the help of like of someone else in the comments. I credit them both at the start of that video. Um, but so I was like, I added my own entries, I added stuff from them, and I wanted to make a video about it because no one had done that, and it was like a format that I enjoyed. So I was like, why the hell not? And so I made it, and like for the first 2 weeks, it basically didn't go anywhere, and then it started to just rapidly blow up out of nowhere, and that's just kind of the end of that, honestly.
Didn't that video get
Yeah.
like very close to like millions of views or something, like a million?
I think, yeah, I'm still logged into my Coolkid account right now. It is currently sitting at, yeah, 6,000 shy of 1 million views.
Nice.
Hey, we'll get that number up in no time.
I
The
don't know.
production quality on it's bad enough that, like, I kinda, like, it kinda hurts that it's so successful, but at the same time, I owe pretty much my entire presence on the internet to it doing well. So even if I don't think that it's very good anymore, enough people still think that I just kind of have to concede that one to them.
Hey man, I feel the same. Like, when I did one of my first ever videos, like a Limbo guide, right? Like, was one of the first videos, I look back at them like, oh my god, it's awful, but it also still has some of my most views on this channel.
That's just how it happens.
Yeah.
You could always do a remaster.
Well, I mean, I am working on the Limbible after all. That is going to be the remaster at this point.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. But the iceberg was. I remember it not being that bad of a video though. Like it was quite good.
A lot of it's just like my vocal tone and things like that are really not great.
That's fair.
And I haven't played Limbo in such a long time. I'm completely out of it with like the muscle memory on how this guy actually works.
Yeah, that's why it's all so fun.
This is why it's fun. We get to see what happens.
It's just a harsh reminder that I don't play this guy ever.
Yeah. Kinda
To be
sad.
fair, not many people do.
Doesn't he have like what, a less than 1% usage rate?
This year's, yeah, he had less than 1%. First
Yeah,
year
that
he
doesn't
went below
surprise
1%, I believe. First or second year. I don't think.
Oh well, I have my Riot Bubble build employed. You can take advantage of it.
We gotta make do, as they say.
Hell yeah. That makes me think, have you thought of, like, stopping content creation altogether sometimes?
Admittedly, there's been a few times. Most recently, honestly, maybe either of you have seen it, maybe not. I think you mentioned seeing it, Sci-Fi, but the video I did about new players and why they quit.
Oh, God, that one.
And the immense amount of toxicity in people's replies to it was so discouraging that I've been trying to stay on schedule for one video a month this year, and I've been doing pretty good about that, but I completely skipped last month's video because I was just considering quitting entirely because it was so dejecting. But I also kind of came to the realization that a lot of the people that... It's funny because a lot of people self-report this, and I find it really weird. Well, they'll be like, oh yeah, like, you're completely right. You know, this game completely sucks. No one should play it. That's why I stopped playing 5 years ago. And I'm like, then why the fuck are you weighing in on the discussion exactly? Like, why are you seeking out Warframe content just to shit on it? That seems kind of stupid.
It kind of makes me think of people that hate watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I kind of came to realize was the truth of the matter was that the video had exceeded its original audience and just gotten to people that had hated the game and did for years, and they were kind of poisoning the well. So I was just like, yeah, I think it's probably for the best to just, like, I did end up just outright disabling the comments. Like, there's the ones that were posted are still there, and I didn't feel good about it, but how YouTube works is that it would literally send me push notifications on my fucking phone, and I'd look, and it would just be like this toxic nonsense constantly. Like, I'm not dealing with this. This video is getting like 15 comments a day at this point, and I don't want to read them.
Trust me, I've had my fair share of that kind of stuff happen. So
I felt like the video wasn't even that bad though. Like, I remember watching it when it came out because it was probably in everyone's recommendation, to be fair. Like, it just, I think it did some points well. Like, I didn't have a problem with it.
I didn't think it would be that controversial of an opinion to say that the crafting times and the slot limitations were bad for the game, but remarkably, a lot of people disagreed with me, either in just being like, you know, oh, these aren't problems, and you're just, you know, just do... My favorite one that I received was some guy straight up told me, make your own Warframe, and I'm like, this is the worst possible take. Like, I think I found it. You couldn't have said anything worse than this.
That is,
like,
that's something.
Make your own Warframe.
We even have, like, full proof that it is the early game experience that's, like, hampering Warframe. Like, First Descendant has, like, one of the best first player, like, new player experiences.
It's also
like,
funny
they do well
because the developers, and I left a link in the description of the dev short where they said this, Rebecca herself acknowledged it's a problem and that they've been discussing it for a while. And it's like, why? Like, I don't know, take it up with the creative director of the game if you think that I'm bullshitting you.
I feel like I think I left this comment too under your video. I think one of the things that they really need to do to try and fix the early game experience, well, A, properly teach people how to mod, and B, maybe give more interesting early game content and quests, you know? To get them hooked.
Or just give them, like, a reactor or two and, like, a catalyst or 3 and, like, some format.
Well,
I think
just give the story.
Interestingly enough, with the catalyst and stuff thing, that nowadays, I wasn't even aware of this. I don't know if this was a recent change or not, but junctions can actually reward them early on. There's like 2 or 3 that give you like a reactor and a catalyst, which I don't think is like a perfect solution, but it's nice that at least it's there. They also added a market pop-up in Jade Shadow, straight up telling people that you can buy blueprints for credits. I don't feel like that fixes it because I know how gamers work and they're just going to immediately skip the dialogue without ever reading it, but it shows that they're at least aware that it's an issue.
I mean, heck, it kind of reminds me, did you hear about this thing about this guy where his wife died at a Disney park and he can't sue because apparently when he signed up for Disney Plus, he revoked
Oh yeah, I
his
did
rights
hear
to
about
sue.
that.
It makes me think of that.
Yeah, that's...
Disney did backtrack on that, though.
Yeah, so that's so fucked up.
That was such a messed up thing to do, like, genuinely.
Yeah. Don't think we have had any correlates between that and, like, any other scenario.
Oh, man. But this whole problem with the early game is so intriguing to me, because, like, I mean, yes, I brute force through it, but I also understand how annoying it can be, and I know they've been trying to do better. Just hope they can,
like,
at some point, perfect it somehow.
Like, in defense of Warframe, though, it's like these kinds of games generally do evolve into, like, it's the end game or nothing kind of deal. where like you either focus on endgame or you don't focus at all on the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's how most MMOs stay relevant. Is like they rarely do new player stuff. They might do it like once every few years, but they generally want to just make the new players quicker in going into the end game. Just like that way you can add.
If either of you played Destiny, when they were doing their like Into the Light seasonal thing, they just straight of gave everyone maximum power armor so that they could get into it immediately. And it's like, I feel like if this is the kind of stuff you're resorting to, maybe the system doesn't work.
Yeah.
if this is what you have to do.
We've had Warframe do similar stuff in the past, right? Like Duviri was meant to be that, for example.
I think Duviri was more of like an alternate start. This kind of thing was almost just like, here's the max power gear. Like, I don't know if you've played Destiny, but there's a lot of content.
I liked Witch Queen, but that was about it.
Yeah, I got back into it recently because a friend wanted to play it with me, but a lot of that stuff, there's a system called power where your gear has a power level, and there's certain content where if you were below power, you are just deliberately nerfed really, really hard. So they basically gave you a free pass into the end game content because they knew the early game was just genuinely that uninteresting.
And the fact that they don't seem to improve the new player experience is really bad too. Because I remember, have you watched the video from what's his name, Asacross, about the early game?
I'd heard about it when it was like first blowing up, but I didn't watch it.
He goes in depth about it, and he talks about how the problem with the new game experience is that because they removed like the Red War campaign and stuff, there's like no actual like, you know, tutorial really for the game.
Yeah, so much of the story is missing. They've kind of Frankensteined Destiny 1's original opening into Destiny 2, and it just feels super out of place. And I think at this point, the original campaign, the first 2 DLCs, and the third major DLC are all basically gone. Yeah. And a lot of that stuff like holds story significance, and the best you can do is there's this little tab up in the top right of their version of like the star map that lets you read about it, and that's how you experience the story, not to mention seasonal content, which goes away at the end of every year, despite it usually directly influencing the DLC that releases that year.
Well, it could be worse. You could be Warframe, where they remove Operation lore after it's gone, and you can't.
I'll
really
say this: when it comes to Destiny, I do think they do it worse than Warframe, just on the grounds that a lot of Warframe's Operation lore isn't required to understand the story, where a lot of Destiny's seasonal lore absolutely is, and they don't even tell you that you can go read about it.
That's funny. Never really got too much. I played like Destiny 1. Didn't really get much into Destiny 2.
Yeah,
like a Sea of Thieves.
Religiously, both 1 and 2. Like, he is a Destiny fanboy.
I respect
God,
it.
he must have the wallet, jeez.
No, he doesn't. He would get the expansions as Christmas gifts back in the day. Now he pays for them because he has a job now and everything. But like before,
evolution.
He would just wait until Christmas or his birthday to get it.
Yeah.
And I played Destiny 1 way back, like, it was funny because my brother got the game because he liked Halo, and then he was like, wow, this shit's nothing like Halo, and I was like, this game's really good. So I enjoyed Destiny 1, and then I got into Destiny 2, like, 2 years after it came out, but I've been very on and off with the game, unlike Warframe, where I'm typically just like, yes, babe, it's 4 p.m., time for your abusive video game relationship.
Oh my God. I mean, same here, man. I got into this game like 2 years ago, and I got like 3,000 hours under my belt now.
Damn.
Yeah,
it's like
funny.
League of Legends to me. Yeah.
I'll have friends like sometimes start to get into the game, and I have one who maybe you can't keep this in the video because of how I'm about to describe this, but he always told me that Warframe looked like the, quote, weird space robot sex game. He never elaborated on that opinion. That was just what he called it.
No, I can keep that in the video, I think.
Recently, he started to actually play it, and he was just like, I just remember, like, out of nowhere, I was at my job, and I receive a text from him that just says, what the fuck, this game is good? And I'm like, you have bashed this game for, like, 2 or 3 years, and it's like, now that you've tried it, it's like the meme of, like, the parrot taking the bite out of the cracker. It's like, yeah, this is what happens with most people. Most people don't stick it out with Warframe, but the fortunate thing is because I know so much and typically have an excess of resources, like if a friend of mine runs into an early game hiccup with, like, you know, particularly slots, I almost always just say, like, if you hit a slot limit, tell me, I'll buy it for you. This system is cancer, and I'm not going to leave you to deal with it like I had to.
That's fair, yeah.
I never had to. I just opened my wallet.
I've been trying to get my
Fair
brother into
enough.
this game too, because like with the Destiny situation, right? He's been considering changing pace, you know? And I'm just
Yeah.
like, just play this game, man. Join me. Join me.
Yeah, it's been very much so.
I will say, despite all of Warframe's issues, this game is still absolutely peak, as the kids say.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
funny because, like, I feel like a lot of people end up in this weird situation with Warframe where, like, they say that they only play it because of, like, sunk cost fallacy, and it's like, I don't know what all you were doing, because I play the game because I think it's fun.
Same.
Like,
Oh, it's 100% sunk cost fallacy.
it's like, I've played the game for about 10 years, and it's like, yeah, I still think it's fun, that's why I still play the game. Like, you are allowed to take breaks or quit. It's kind of the same thing with, like, if Warframe enters a content drought. I've always just been, like, it's kind of recently, with, like, after Jade Shadows, you've just kind of been in the dark, and even though, I think it's tomorrow, as of recording, this is when Sevagoth and stuff comes out,
The new
Yeah.
quest too.
I expect us to kind of stay in a content drought for a while. Like, we're getting a
Yeah.
new series of Nightwave and stuff, but I think that in probably October will be the release of Cyto 9 and Caliban's rework and stuff, and that'll be a big update. But, like,
I think
No,
they said
1999
no.
is gonna be late December,
It's gonna be
probably.
Christmas
That's my
time.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, I think they said at
Maybe late
TennoCon
September.
Cyto 9 is actually coming out before 1999.
No,
He's going
he's
to
coming
be that
with it, but
update.
there's a new Warframe that they have not announced yet that's coming before Cyto 9, and that's gonna be in October.
I must have just misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be difficult, because, to be fair, they showed us Cyto 9 and nothing of the other frame.
Yeah, they wanted to
And,
wait
like-
until the Japanese game show, which is where they're debuting.
Oh yeah, Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, Tokyo Game
Yeah.
Show. Yeah, I know that last week, me and Dark and Gamble, we were theorizing what the frame could be, and like, a lot of people are saying it might be a spider frame, so it could be interesting.
That was something that's they had talked about on the most recent dev short, actually, that Steve said that as a piece of misinformation to make Rebecca's life harder. She claims that is not actually what's going to happen.
Oh, that's gonna be sad. I really wanted to. They could have done so many cool. I
mean,
hope for
either
a summoner.
way, it
A
could
summoner
be
spider
interesting.
frame would be cool. Yeah. I
Just
want
watch it be a
summoner
spider frame, though, it'd be hilarious.
It would
Oh
be
my
funny
God,
if it was just,
that
like,
would be like-
the double gaslight.
That would be incredible as a marketing ploy.
Yeah.
I fully expect it to be like full. I hope it's like something really meme, because it's like Tokyo Game Fest. Imagine if it's like a made like fucking Warframe.
A Japanese made Warframe? Oh god.
I am surprised in a game like Warframe. Like, I think that Pablo talked about Cyto 9's theme being sort of like a soldier, but I found it kind of weird, like, thinking, like, what? Why have we not had something like that already? Like, there isn't a single character in this game that's, like, is themed around just, like, blowing things up. It's like, where's the blast damage character? That's what I need in my life at this point.
I have personally wanted, for the longest time, an infested gas damage frame.
Gas damage will finally be good.
Well, here's the idea. It'd be like combining the infested theme of Nidus with the cooldown mechanics of Lavos would be the idea.
Oh, okay.
Like a self-sustaining infested hybrid of some kind that does like gas damage and it's made from like Corpus Tech. That was like my idea.
That makes sense. I honestly, like, for the longest time, I wanted a Warframe that was themed around manipulating time, but I feel like Proteus stole that thunder despite only having one ability that's actually related to it.
Well, we also
And then
have
you got-
Limbo.
and then you got Limbo freezing time in its dimension.
Yeah, I guess it kind of feels like it's probably not going to be like a theme so much as almost, I don't know, a tack on for other characters' kits. It's not like it doesn't fit, I guess. It's just I don't think it'll ever be the centerpiece of someone's abilities.
Kind of sucks too. It could be really interesting if done right.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've had some people tell me, like, especially in regards to like the overguard of the new player videos, like, I think you'd be a pretty decent designer at DE, and I'm like, I completely disagree, but I appreciate the compliment.
I think some
Like
of your ideas are pretty good.
Yeah. Like, it could be a problem having too many ideas and like saying them as well, because it wouldn't want to like do something that's like very like spoken about by certain people in the community, right? Like, that's one problem that I remember hearing about was, I believe Pablo said it in like an interview with Brozyme 5 years ago, I think. I think he mentioned like how like he tries to not look at too many ideas because he could like end up like doing that in a way that like might get him in legal trouble or whatever. Don't remember. Been a long time.
Or like a Frankenstein almost of ideas that don't work.
No, like just doing ideas without permission,
Oh.
and like that could be an actual issue.
That's true, actually, because I would assume that when they design frames, right, they have to like get actual permission to do this kind of stuff for a character, right?
Like let's say they were to make like a COD character. They have a grenade, they have a movement speed option, and they have like X or Y, right? Like they end up just having like very simple first-person shooter like aspects. If that was mentioned by like on the forums or something, it could end up being like a problem getting permission for it and whatever.
That's fair.
Could. I'm saying could. Like I don't actually remember if that's the exact quote, but yeah, they talked about it. I think.
Honestly, for me, I don't know if either of you here are familiar with Ultra Kill, but there is a great quote from its developer Hakita where he said, "It's a good thing you guys aren't designing Ultra Kill because then it would fucking suck." I completely agree when it comes to Warframe. There was someone at the end of my overguard video. There's a part where I kind of like go to bat for DE. I think that people give them way too much shit to an extent that's unjustified. And someone was like, DE never listens. And what I wanted to do was like pull out the monumental list of examples of that being complete cope and absolutely not true.
I mean, the big
bullet
example
jump.
Bullet jump in parkour.
Yeah, and so I was just like, I just kind of asked them to elaborate on their opinion. Of course, they didn't have a good elaboration for me, because generally what I've learned is that engaging with these people will just prove to you that they usually don't. But the person was just like, well, just go to the feedback section of the forums. And I was thinking to myself, like, if your argument that DE doesn't listen is that they haven't incorporated literally every idea ever suggested to them, that's not a great argument. But even beyond that, most of the suggestions on the forums are terrible. Like, I hate to sound like I'm egoing myself or like I'm being mean saying that, but I genuinely just think it's the truth. Most of them are bad.
Or badly worded. That's like probably the guarantee. It's like everyone is badly wording their ideas.
I think one of the funniest ones I've seen is like people, like, you know, with Limbo, right? How there's a lot of like rework ideas. One of the most annoying ones I see is the idea of moving the functionality of his 1, where like you can hold Banish to remove the enemies from the rift to his 3. But the problem with that is that you would instantly make it so that the sub-zoom would be unusable at that point.
Yeah.
Or you just make it so the subsumable has the... Because you could always treat the whole cast like separate abilities.
Well, yeah, that's...
And just be like, oh, you get both.
That's what we're doing with the rework idea. Which is
yeah.
cool.
Because I think there's so many cool ideas. Like, I want them to make a frame that just has 8 different abilities, like full abilities. Think Equinox or whatever, but they always have everything available.
It's like think Equinox, but they're good, so stop thinking about Equinox.
No, because Equinox is good, it's just you have problems because 2 augments are mandatory.
Mod slot issues.
Yeah, because you have to have Peaceful Provocation and Energy Transfer, or you're just building daytime, and that's less fun.
Yeah, I've been part of the video I'm currently working on talks in some detail about Pacify specifically, and how, like, I guess maybe you two know, maybe not. Pacify actually has fall off at the edge of its range.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It makes it so it's really tough to mod. Because you already have struggles with mod space, because you have to have like 2 or 3 augments to be competitive, and then all the shards in the world, and then even then you'll have some energy issues unless you do shards for it, and then you have damage issues because you didn't use shards for it. Like, I've played too much Equinox and I have too much things to say, so I'm gonna keep it short.
Yeah, the particular section, because I feel like, and this is something that I see in the Warframe community a lot, is I feel like one of the most misunderstood concepts in the game is damage reduction, because a lot of people get really fixated on the percentage, but I don't think is like how you should look at it. And the reason for that is because I go into detail about this in something I'll be releasing later, so I guess I probably don't have to explain it now, but whenever you have damage reduction, it's really easy to get caught up in the weeds about like, oh yeah, well 95 versus 90% damage reduction, that's only a 5% difference. But if you look at
hundreds of thousands of damage sometimes.
Yeah, if you look at the damage, the way damage reduction is expressed, I feel like is not very humanly intuitive when you look at it as a percentage. So how I typically look at it is like another way you can express damage reduction is as an effective health multiplier. So like if you have 50% damage reduction, you take half damage, so you effectively have twice your health. So when you look at it in that expression, you start to realize that. So like here's my example. So you have 100 health, and an attack deals 10 damage. So it takes 10 hits for that attack to kill you. So if you have 50% damage reduction, that attack deals 5 damage, so it takes 20 hits to kill you. So you effectively have double your health, because it would take the same amount of hits to kill you at 200 health. So 90% damage reduction would make that attack deal 1 damage. So you have effectively 10 times the health, because it would take, if you had 1,000 health, it would take the same number of hits. 95% damage reduction, well, this example's not great because the game rounds, but that would make that deal half a point of damage. So at that point, implying that could actually happen, it would take 200 hits to kill you. So the difference between 90 and 95% is that 95% is twice the effective health, but if you're caught up on the percentages, you'll never realize that. It's just a 5% difference to most people.
Like, Nev, have you met Nev? I don't remember.
I haven't ever spoken with him, no.
He actually went into crazy detail about this before the Jade Shadows update came out, and it's part of why I was very much against the changes they were doing, for the most part. And it's that, basically, by changing the armor scaling, right? Because of the effective health scaling that you just mentioned, right? It means that by reducing even an enemy's armor by, say, 1%, can increase your damage significantly, which people don't realize.
Yeah, it seemed like a big part of that change was just to make partial stripping more effective.
Yeah, and just It was also just to make it so all status effects were more equal, because the problem with the old system was you either went viral slash for everything, or you used corrosive heat for everything, with very few weapons straying off that beaten path. And now you have all the different elements. Even corrosive are still usable. You can still use viral slash with heat, and even I like the changes because they opened up build variety to the extreme. I still do think they should increase the health on some factions and some unit types specifically to give them slight more tankiness. But
I think we talked about this last time too. But I think a better change would actually be to add a minimum 1 negative to each faction, and maybe having a handful of factions having 2 negatives. That way, it can basically increase the effective health, so to speak, in that way, versus just boosting the health outright.
Yeah, but you have to remember, just adding a weakness and a resistance for them isn't gonna do much if you're using, let's say you're using blast electric melees, right? Unless they're resistant to electric or blast, you're not changing your build. And even if they're resistant to blast, you're not gonna change your build most likely on some melees and stuff. Like, we have a problem of if something works, it's whoever works the best at the most. So like, it doesn't matter if they were resistant to both electric and blast, we'll still use it if that's like the meta for that weapon. So it's like, I think it's better to buff around that and just make it so it's slightly less effective, but the other things are also slightly less effective. And like more even it out, so you don't have to worry about the specific elements, unless you want to have it be like, oh, this element is neutral to everything basically, and having like a neutral elemental combo. But yeah, like there's some issues there. I don't want us to end up going back to just the corrosive heat and the viral slash, which is
in their current state, I'm mostly happy with them. I feel like one of the things that kind of slipped by with the elemental changes and stuff is I feel like Toxin caught a pretty significant nerf because it no longer has a positive matchup against Corpus Health anymore, which kind of felt like an oversight, but maybe it was intentional. But even beyond that, Reactive Storm kind of caught a huge nerf because it no longer turns into I wasn't paying attention there. It no longer turns into elements. Like, against the Grenier, it'll turn into Impact, and against the Corpus, it'll turn into Puncture, when it used to be Magnetic and Corrosive. So, I don't know if that was an oversight or not.
I remember them fixing it.
The last I tested it was a couple weeks ago, and it was still working that way.
Oh.
Not to mention, Corrosive in particular got a huge nerf because it lost the extra damage bonus through armor system that it had within the health types.
Yeah, funnily enough, Radiation kind of ate the same nerf. It's just that you couldn't, Corrosive was more self-sustaining because it already removed armor.
Yeah, but I think radiation is going to be in good spot if they just add more things for it to be strong
Honestly,
against.
a big one that I was thinking of that would be kind of cool that could also solve the ground control issue, right? Maybe make it so that on overguarded enemies, they become temporarily affected by CC abilities, but like a very small duration or something.
I had a similar idea that this was one of the questions I had prepared in case we needed it. Because I looked at one of the videos about the overguard mechanic in Coolkid here. Like one of the comments that I found was, "What about using brittle enemies, or like giving the like adding big meatballs that like are immune to most things, but if they are CC'd, it'll break a gauge to break them." Making them stunned temporarily, like staggered, and have all their defenses stripped and vulnerable to all damage.
Yeah, someone brought that up. I think there was someone brought something up somewhere that was inspired by a mechanic on Guild Wars 2 of all things called
Yeah,
the Break Bar, where it
yeah,
works
it's also used
similarly.
in a lot of Korean games, like Solo Leveling Arise has it, and a bunch of other games.
Yeah, I had never heard of it, but I thought it was honestly a very interesting idea. Like the solution I presented in my video was more of just like, I'm not going to claim it's amazing. A lot of it was like, I feel like it's really shallow to just say this is a problem and then don't give any opinion on how to correct that problem, because I feel like that's a big issue in a lot of just feedback with games in general. Is like, people will say shit like fix your game, and then they won't elaborate on how or what that even actually looks like. So I wanted to try and be more constructive than that, but I thought that was an interesting idea. I feel like kind
Yeah,
of the unfortunate reality of the situation, at least at the moment, is that I don't think that Digital Extremes wants to try and fix that system because they don't really have much of an incentive to. A lot of the characters that have
yeah,
been released that are super damage focused have been received rather well, and I don't really expect them to change course, even if I kind of expressed the opinion that everyone is starting to feel samey to me in terms of like Kullervo, Corvex, and Daggett all were kill enemies in a line. They do it different ways, but fundamentally that's what they do. And I feel like you could
yeah.
argue to an extent Dante is similar. Not quite the same because he does it in a radius, but because his, Dark Verse is a line in front of him, you can play him the same
I think
way.
one of the biggest reasons why I don't like Dante in particular is that you notice how with Kullervo, with Varuna, and especially with like Jade and Corvex, they rely on enemy density to get their nukes off, right? Whereas with Dante,
Yeah.
he doesn't really need that, because he just needs to cast his 2 twice and then he can nuke. Whereas with other frames, they kind of have to build towards it by getting enemies close.
Dante is a character that just kind of like in general, like when after Dante got nerfed, I had talked on stream that I felt like his nerf didn't like destroy him. It was definitely too heavy-handed at first, but I think it was that the incentive to do it was there. Like, he definitely deserved it. I know a lot of people will go out for to bat for the argument of like PvE games shouldn't have nerfs.
That's
I
stupid.
think that like
Yeah, it's stupid.
I feel like there's kind of two sides to that coin of like, on the one hand, it's not like a PvP game where the meta actively forces you to play a certain way. So I think things being, overpowered to an extent isn't a terrible thing. But at the same time, if something is so overwhelmingly dominant, it's disruptive or making up a huge portion
It
of
forces people
what's
to
being
use
used,
just that thing and nothing else.
then yeah, it's like even beyond the fact that there's no competitive incentive to do it, if it's such an overwhelmingly powerful option, then I think that there's still an incentive to change it. And Dante was a disruptive character. He would like steal your kills through walls if you had a status-based weapon because he was just killing everything.
Yep.
I unironically think that after they did his nerfs, I genuinely think he's a better character now because they buffed Word Warden, and it's really powerful. But Dante
I still
like,
have a major issue. I wish they just nerfed how his 4 interacted with the overguard and forced him to use his second ability. Because the fact of the matter is, his second ability isn't an ability, it's a second part of his 4th ability.
Functionally, yeah, you very rarely cast it just to
You cast it
it.
once, you only cast it for the overguard, like you double cast your 2, then you cast it again with your 3 twice, and then you have all your buffs active. And then you don't bother, because you force your overguard to regen, which is a stupid thing. Why can't Kullervo do it? Or no, not Caliban?
Yeah,
Why can't
Caliban. He has
Caliban?
that exact same mechanic in hit, or he used to, and then they removed that mechanic.
Yeah, like why can't Caliban just get shield gate like Protea, but like Dante can be here getting overguard gates beyond the wazoo. Like it's, I have some issues. Like I think make had they just made his damage LOS and then force him to use his 2 more often, like not forcing the overguard to recharge, like he would be a fantastic frame, probably an S tier design frame. Because my problem right now is just he's just a 1-button frame effectively.
Very
one button with like a 4th. Like he has a great exalted though, which is a shame. I wish his 2 just worked differently and just was an ability.
Yeah, it's specifically Dante, and that's going to be a big part of my video when I talk about the Warframe kit design, right? That I was telling you about Coolkid. Like Dante is going to be like kind of like the center point of that, because I do feel like he was like the one frame that kind of identified the biggest problem when it comes to kit design.
Like the only problem I think he has a kit is his 2 not being an ability. Like it's effectively a primer for your 4th ability, if that makes sense. It's priming you to cast other 4th abilities, and like I think if they just fix that problem, he would be an incredible design.
Well,
frame.
It's not just that, but after the nerfs, I have noticed that his tragedy isn't as good anymore, so it kind of fixes that. But like the biggest problem that I had with Dante wasn't just how easily he could get the overguard; it was how easily he could nuke. Like, he needed no real build-up to anything.
You needed a lot of strength to nuke effectively with Dante, using just abilities, at least. Like ability nuking.
Well, I know,
you
but
could
it
use
was still
primers.
pretty good for what it was, which is my biggest issue. Because, like I said with the other frames, right, how they needed some form of enemy density or some other conditionals to get their nukes, whereas Dante just had to press his button twice and then it clears the room.
No, he needed more than 2 buttons for a steel path. Like, unless you used a primer, or like your Noctua actively for damage, like your 3-3-4 wouldn't kill in Seal Path unless you had like beyond 400% strength. And even then, like I had the 428 strength build on him. I believe now I use 500% ability strength. But you still have to cast roughly like 4 or 5 times before nuking. So like it's not a fast nuke. It's more like Ash or like those kinds of nukes, in my opinion. Like it's quite similar to Lavos, where if you use a primer, it's like a great nuke. But like, yeah, like I think his main issue is just how he can just be alive way too easily and give it to his squad too easily.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like just make it so the overguard only regens for allies if they had overguard, not himself. Like, let himself have permanent uptime for the overguard gate, but not allies. Forcing him to cast 2 for supportive aspects would have also been a good idea.
That's fair.
Just to give him some identity for his second ability.
Ooh, we got an acolyte. Oh, Psylocke.
But yeah, I hope we see broad changes to so many frames soon, because like Chroma and Hildren are starting to show their age quite significantly. Like Trinity is showing her age. Loki as well.
They have at least forced that Trinity is going to be getting some changes alongside Nyx in 1999.
Yeah, I hope the next one is a durability increase or 4th damage increase. It would be fantastic.
I forgot, what did you hope for with those abilities, Coolkid? Because I remember you talking about it on stream the other day.
For Nyx in particular, I just want them to uncap the enemy limit on her too. Like anything else, you know, feel free. Like there's definitely other things that she needs, but that's the biggest issue for me. Is I feel like with Terrify and Pillage being helmet abilities, I don't see a good reason to keep a cap on Psychic Bolts.
Yeah, I could see them do that, but like for me, like that doesn't really matter much to me because I just recast it after killing the 7 or 9 enemies.
I feel like just with the way Warframe is these days, with the amount of enemies on screen, and you don't really have a ton of control over who specifically they target. I feel like it would just be best for her if they just took away that limitation. Honestly, there's a lot of frames like Nyx that are left with weird, outdated limitations like that. Like, Excalibur's Exalted Blade has damage fall off after 8 meters. which makes no sense to me because like Baruch isn't beholden to that limitation.
Well,
Same with,
Baruch is Baruch. You
I
can't
mean,
compare
that's
others
true,
to the
but
Baruch.
just with he's the closest analog for an exalted weapon that like shoots a wave of energy, but Excalibur has so many weird limitations on it. Like every time his wave hits an enemy, the projectile lifetime is reduced by half a second. So it's like you're incentivized to play it like a regular sword, despite the fact that you shoot beams out of your sword, because the beams have like 2 or 3 different things that make them worse for no reason.
To be fair, I don't use it as a short sword. I just use it with slash dash. It's so much fun just doing pox and corrosive slash with like crits and damage multipliers with the fucking javelin augment and everything.
Yeah, I was same with like Excalibur's passive. Honestly, it was one of those things where I was amazed when they did his rework. They never changed it because I really think Excalibur's passive, I don't know, just kind of sucks. I talked about this on stream a bit, and I actually talked about Nova, and he disagreed with me, and I guess I can explain why. I understand his disagreement, but don't agree with his disagreement. When I was talking about Excalibur, something I said is that I felt like at high level, if you weren't using Slash Dash, it was difficult to stay alive, because Slash Dash makes you invincible, but if you're playing around Exalted Blade, unless you're like bending over backwards for things like healing return and stuff, it's really difficult to survive on him, and I felt like the other 2 starters didn't really encounter this issue because Mag has Crush, which gives her overshields, and Volt has Capacitance, which is basically free, Arcane Aegis. He just doesn't die as long as someone's being damaged by that shit. So,
fun fact, my build for Excalibur right now is Healing Return with green shards for on Toxin, Tick, Heal, and Quick Thinking and all of that stuff with slash dash. So I get your point. Because the shield isn't immune with shield like slash dash. Which is weird.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have great health but not great health? You have great HP, not great health bar.
The argument I had kind of presented was I felt like his passive should be changed to a small lifesteal with melees, because I think that would fix his biggest problem.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Because the thing with Excalibur is that I feel like it would promote his aggressive style of play of like you have to keep attacking to stay alive, but at the same time it would also help to alleviate the pressure on him to either bend over backwards for healing mods or become Brozyme and equip Glue.
It would be very funny though if they just made it a health gate, so it's 4 stages of health gate. That would be a really cool passive form as well. Like, at 75, 50, and 25, he has like a gate of 1 second.
Yeah,
would make him bend over a knee for glue and shit and healing return, because like that would give you full invulnerability to any level content with probably some of the easiest use we've ever seen, especially with some of the health regen we can do in this game outside of like just with shards and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me think of a cool idea that I had. Dark, how we were talking about the different ideas for Limbo rework, right? I had an idea for one where, like, an alternative idea for the Rift Anchor idea that I had, the one that, where, like, so, Coolkid, spoiler alert, the idea of the Rift Anchor that I originally had would be that Limbo could drop his top hat on the field, and in, like, say, like, affinity range, allies could, like, shoot through the rift temporarily. It would, like, cause,
interesting.
It would cause, like, the planes of existence to merge, if you will. And, like, maybe have another function where, like, you could surge the top hat as well, so that enemies in the area could get surged and pull in. But then I had another idea where it could be something where, like, Limbo drops his top hat as before, but it makes it so that it could act as, like, a free revive for him, and it could have, like, a cooldown after it's triggered, or something.
That's an interesting idea. I'll confess that I don't play Limbo enough to, like, I get how the character works, I guess I'll put it that way, but I don't play him enough to, like, have an opinion that I don't think is, not particularly helpful. Like, how do I put this? I think that there is kind of this notion, not just in Warframe's community, but just in general, that, like, you need to have an opinion on everything. And I am completely willing to admit that there are certain things I should not have an opinion on because I'm an idiot, and there are people that know more than me about them. So, like, when it comes to Limbo, I have the fairly milk-toast.
Sorry to cut you off for a second, but we're about to hit the 45 minutes, so...
fair enough.
Oh, sorry, now continue, my friend, as we leave.
Yeah, that was pretty much just the entire thought of, I don't feel like it's wise of me to just be like, oh yeah, I am the ultimate end authority on every single topic in this video game I play, and I have to have an opinion on every single thing. Because, like, yeah, there are people that know more about certain things than me, and I'm more than willing to, let them give their opinion on it.
Hey, at least you admit it, unlike some other creators I know of.
I don't know how much shade I'm allowed to throw. I typically
Well,
try
you can
to avoid.
shade. I've thrown a shade to way too many communities already.
I mean, we've already done it to Nightmare Frame, so...
I typically try to avoid it, especially because I don't watch that many creators. My map is not marking the exit. Oh, it's this way.
Yeah,
Well, I have done just to regular old communities, like gaming communities, anime communities. I've just shot it at everyone.
No, I respect that.
I mean,
Yeah.
the video kind of throws a shade to a couple of creators, not directly though, but I do bring them up as the key.
I think you're fairly direct on some of them.
Oh yeah.
I also just want to point out that part of why I was quiet there is because my GPU has been overheating, and so I've just been monitoring it, and my temperature has just plummeted after leaving that room. I wonder if there's something wrong with that gorge room specifically, because my PC did not like it.
Oh god.
Could also be Rift Surge and how that works for Rift Horn, maybe.
Yeah.
What makes Limbo the most powerful Warframe is random memory leak.
I mean, we were literally sharing the torrent buffs with each other for a bit. Wow! 62% damage dealt and 1,285 kills. Let's go.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Fucking love that. Oh, man.
Now we need to do a fit check, as per tradition.
Oh yeah, we gotta go up here and check out our fashions. That's right. Join us by Bird 3. There he is. Hello there.
I see you have the. I'm guessing. Oh wow! I was gonna say. I'm guessing all of us are using this helmet, but no, I guess you're the odd one out, aren't you?
I'm using the Visonia helmet.
Yeah, from one of the Tenogen creators. I don't think he
okay.
did much else except that skin. I actually didn't remember. I'll have to look into
Actually,
it.
really quickly, while we're here, I can show you, very quickly, my channel fashion. Let me bust this out. Behold, beauty.
Interesting.
Now we're all using the same helmets.
Yeah, we all have sold out to the Limbo. What's this? The Venari helmet, I think it's called.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
It's just too easy.
Oh, you're using the Alistair fashion. Let's go.
Yeah. I was thinking about the Alucard fashion, but I decided against it.
Man, so badass. Yeah, I just hope, one thing to end this on, kind of, I hope that the Limbible that I make kind of changes people's perspectives. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's not gonna change the player counts, but at least it'll change people's perspective. Hopefully.
Yeah, Warframe reminds me almost of fighting games in a way, in terms of this is kind of a very nerdy side tangent that has nothing to do with Warframe. But
I play so many
no
fighter
worries,
games.
man. No
Yeah.
worries.
If either of you are familiar with Super Smash Bros. Melee,
I played way too much of Brawl, Smash 4, and Ultimate and Melee.
yeah, there's
And Yoshi.
in Smash in Smash Melee, there's Yoshi, and for the longest time he was considered a bad character, and that was honestly just because no one had played him until the character Amsa, or the person Amsa, started playing the character and genuinely brought him up 7 or 8 places on the tier list. Because Yoshi was never bad, it's just that nobody wanted to play him, so no one actually was able to push his potential. And I think in a game like Warframe you see something similar, where people don't immediately understand a character, especially ones that are kind of non-linear, like Limbo. If you get your hands on Colorbo, it's extremely obvious what the character wants you to do, whereas a character like Limbo is a lot less linear. So I think that to an extent there is also the issue of just people assume a character is bad because they don't immediately click with them, and then because everyone is putting themselves in that situation, no one ever actually pushes the character to their full potential because no one was playing them to begin with.
People just don't bother to research anything.
Yeah, that's certainly part of it. I will say, from all my time on the Warframe YouTube, I'm not a big creator by any means, but the amount of it's funny, Shiro was talking with me about this as well after he did his video about new players. Some people, and forgive me for sounding mean, are just stupid. And there's a point where you have to make peace with that, of just I'm not even going to engage, because what's the saying where it's like, don't argue with stupid people because they'll drag you to their level and beat you with experience. That's how it is.
Or you can just,
Genuinely.
I mean, literally with me, right? Because I think you saw this video probably. The one where I did like the modless Limbo Steel Path and I was hitting like 150 kpm with him.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. Stuff like
And
that.
a lot. Yeah, I think that is because like a character I vouch for a lot is Daggeth, where I think that like a lot of people shit on her when she came out, but I actually think she's really fun, and I go to bat for Oberon very frequently too. Because
Yeah.
like
Same.
when Archon hunts came out, I was using him for them, and genuinely every stream was like, "Why are you using Oberon?" And I'm like, "I am here to defend Oberon's honor. God damn it! I will not let these people slander him."
I mean, I'm the same deal. Like, the last guide I did was actually on Oberon, like 9
I
months
had
ago.
seen that, yeah.
Like, it's actually kind of funny. I used to play I played Overon so much before Steel Path, and then I went to Hydroid of all things before his rework, and then they removed his playstyle from before rework, so now it doesn't really work that well. So now I don't play him, and then I play Equinox and Nyx, and Ivar with Navigator. I love Navigator Ivar. Much fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I play a lot of different characters, so I don't have like a high usage percentage on any particular one, but Oberon is my highest at a whopping 3.4%.
Dang. Let me.
Damn, I
let me look
thought
at
mine was high.
Let me.
I have like 3 frames at 7% and like slight above 7. Then I have like a bunch at 5s and 4s.
I am.
Like I think I have every frame at like 3%.
I'm at 40.9% usage on Limbo Prime at the moment.
People like you scare me. It's like there's so many frames in this game, and then there's just some person who pulls up. Like I think Quedza Drake in my audience has like a 60-odd% play rate on Wisp, and I'm like, I get it, you're a gooner. Why? Like
I have a friend of mine in the community who's a Volt main. I know you've met them before, Dark. Peach in the Discord. Peach is a Volt main, and he has a whopping 91% usage on Volt.
that's horrifying.
I could do even worse. Jam the Fuzz like has some of the most insane Limbo hours I've ever
Oh
seen.
yeah. Oh my god.
We're babbies in comparison to him.
I thought I was Lim Jesus until I saw Jim's play rates.
That's grim.
Like I think he has like over the base and prime. I believe he has like 80% over like way too many thousand hours.
Damn.
That's rough.
Oh man.
He might have 2,000 plus hours on just Limbo alone.
I'm the kind of person I play the same character for more than like a few days and like, damn, this is kind of boring. Like, I'll like there's one character I'm just really enjoying and I'll just play them pretty much only, and it'll be like, yeah, I'll switch to someone else. I can't imagine being like, yeah, 90% of my 8,000 hour playtime is on like, I don't know, fucking Banshee or something. Like,
Like for me, I like just like I always use Nyx. If I don't have a frame I want to play specifically, I play Nyx because she just works.
that makes sense. I kind of
Yeah,
like rotate who
Don't
I feel
have
like.
to care about weapons and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of rotate. Like, I'll take like Volt or Mag or what have you, just some like generally, good characters. It's funny because there's like people will still sometimes bring up. I assume you guys are familiar with Cephalon Shy. I think she had left the community probably by the time you had joined.
She left way
But-
before I joined, yeah.
She had a very persistent meme about how she hated Mag because she was bad, and even after all of her videos were deleted from her channel and she's been gone for years, I still see people talk about it.
It's
And I just like
annoying.
like I even make a joke about it because part of my video is I talk about Magnetize and just some weird intricacies it has, and it's just like, yeah, this is definitely a beloved starter who is still absolutely not maligned by a 10-year-old meme
My
that just refuses
buddy,
to die.
my buddy Suckmutt, he is a mag main. You've probably seen him in some of your comments, I think, because I think he does watch you. I could be wrong.
I might have.
He's right now working on a part 2 of a mag guide that he started like a few months back. He loves Mag, like loves Mag, and I don't disagree.
Yeah, she's
Mag's
fun.
great.
Mag is a
Very
fun
fun.
character, especially after Veilbreaker when they've added all the various buffs to her. Then I feel
Yeah.
like her hold the two still doesn't hit the fantasy I want it to, but
Yeah,
that's
but
just
it's
a
fun.
minor.
Hami,
It's
Hami.
fun sometimes.
Cool.
It's a fun like panic button. Like similar to Absorb for Nyx, it's just like you can panic click it, get the damage buff or like new people in front of you and just carry on.
I just want that feeling like in the opening cutscene of redirecting all the bullets,
Yeah.
or like Vortex Shield from Titanfall kind of shit.
Yeah.
And
I believe
like,
you can get that if you get enough range, but you have to get an absurd amount of range.
All right.
we'll get there eventually.
I'm
Okay.
sad about the puddle removal from Hydroid. I loved the old Hydroid. New Hydroid is like I don't actually play him that
That's like
much.
Hydroid rework upsets both Hydroid mains.
Hey, I used
Damn.
water. One of my favorite builds was using water blades. So I would subsume over my 4 or 1, depending on what I was doing. For water blades, I had 2 hydroids for it, and then I would just tidal wave around, group people up with like either my puddle or my 2, then prime them with either my 1 or get the energy and health orbs from my 4, and then use water blades to kill them.
That's an interesting strategy. Sorry
Or
for
use Tesla
dragging out your
Nervos
show.
as well.
Oh,
Sci-Fi.
no worries, man. This was a great talk, but yeah, I think it's like 53 minutes right now. So this was a blast, though, man. Like, did you enjoy this?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm sorry my Limbo is shit. I haven't touched this guy in like a year.
Do not
Oh, it's
worry.
cool.
Once the Limbible is unleashed, you will see true power.
I like the Dana. What you did with the color.
Oh, the
Oh,
cocoon
yeah.
one, the cocoon one.
I wanted to
Yeah.
find something that looked almost like a, I don't know, like a cowl, and I was like, this kind of has the shape I'm going for, so we're just gonna like fudge it as much as possible
I
so
would
that it
use
works.
it. I kid you
I
not.
think you could get a bit
to
of purple though.
I would use it, kid you not, to cosplay Gearman from Bloodborne.
I respect that.
I think if you change your skirt and stuff like the wine purple to be a bit more winey in color, I think it could be quite cool.
Alright. Well, anyway, I think that's the end of the podcast. It was a pleasure hanging out with both of you guys. This was awesome.
Thank
This
you
was
for
probably the
having me.
most non-stop talking we have had.
The unfortunate
Probably
reality is that as people who watch my streams know, I just never shut up. So,
Me neither.
Hey, that's a good thing. We need to fill the dead air.
Yeah, we just play off each other, perma talking all three.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
the first
fair
20 minutes was probably more content than the entirety of the last 2.
Hell yeah. Well, this has been me, Sci-Fi Freak. Amazing having Coolkid and my co-host Dark Emeru with us, and we will see you all next time.
I want to see my family again.